Some Republicans and Democrats say that a government shutdown would be a terrible thing for President Trump and the Republican Party. But would it really? Hey, everybody, I'm Chad Hasty, host of the Chad Hasty Show, which airs weekday mornings, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 a.m. KFYO. President Trump has threatened to shut down the federal government. The government runs out of money, or at least portions of the federal government run out of money on Friday, and it would be a partial government shutdown. Really, only about a third of the government would be, quote unquote, shut down, but essential personnel would stay on board, and they would be paid later. So a partial government shutdown would occur Friday at midnight if the Republicans and Democrats can't agree to federal spending and a federal spending bill. Now, President Trump has said if you don't include funding for a border wall, then I have no problem shutting down the government. In fact, President Trump even saying he will take credit or the blame for shutting down the government. We've talked a lot on the show about whether or not this is a good idea. Republicans are really all over the place on this. Some Republicans, like U.S. Senator John Cornyn, say it would be terrible to shut down the federal government. But would it really? I mean, what's really going to be impacted? Your day-to-day life, the American citizen's life, is not going to be impacted at all. In fact, national parks would remain open. Obviously, Homeland Security, while it would be impacted, there would still be Homeland Security. Those who are charged and tasked with defending the United States would obviously be on the job. Those who are investigating potential incidents, then they will remain on the job. The average citizen would not be impacted by this around Christmas time. And that's one of the big fears, right, is that their lives would be impacted right around Christmas. Now, listen, you don't want anybody furloughed. You don't want anyone to miss a paycheck and, get that paycheck later on. You don't necessarily want that to happen. But in the grand scheme of things, a government shutdown come Saturday morning would not be the worst thing in the world. It would not collapse the United States. Christmas would still happen. You'd still get gifts, or you'd be giving gifts. You'd still be able to fly to mom and dad's or grandpa and grandpa's, and you would not be impacted by that. The only thing that you'll have to deal with when flying is dealing with the gropey TSA. That's it. You would not be impacted by a government shutdown. What a possible government shutdown would do, though, is send a message to voters that Democrats are not interested in securing the border of the United States, that Democrats are not interested in coming up with the real security needed for the U.S. border. Listen, Donald Trump campaigned on the border wall. He campaigned on it. Everybody knew he was for a border wall, and he was elected president of the United States. Now, some of you may not like that, but he indeed won the U.S. election. And so this is President Trump reaching out to Republican voters and Trump voters and saying, look, I'm trying to get through a major campaign issue that I promised you. I'm trying to take care of the border. I'm trying to get the nation's borders secured. It's the Democrats that are standing in the way of it. I think it's a winning argument, and I think it's one that the president can use over the weekend if he decides to shut down the government. He can blame the Democrats. The Democrats don't want to play ball with a wall. They don't want to secure the border. They don't want to secure the nation when it comes to our border issues. It's something that needs to be exposed more often, and I think would actually help the president and help Republicans moving forward. Would it make a big impact on 2020? Absolutely not. It especially won't make a big impact in people who are going to vote against Donald Trump. I guarantee you no one is going to go to the polls on Election Day in 2020 and go, I was going to vote for Donald Trump, but remember that shutdown that happened back in 2018 around Christmas? there's no way I can vote for the guy now. No one's going to do that. But what Republican voters may do is they may remember a president who stood up for them and stood up for an issue that they cared about and that he campaigned on and said, I want this border wall. At the end of the day, I'm not real sold on there being a government shutdown. We've seen these threats before. I would like to see the president stick to his guns on this one and tell the Democrats, play ball, secure the border, and do what you need to do. The government's job is to secure the safety of its citizens. That is the government's job, and they need to get to it. And that's why I support the president taking any action he needs to on the border wall and this possible government shutdown. The government shutdown will not impact you. You will not be hurt by it, despite what the media may say. Everything will be okay. Tune in to the Chad Hasty Show weekday mornings, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 a.m. KFYO.